Now, depending on your system, you might be seeing something a little bit strange. You might notice that your bird isn't actually showing up. So you might see that your bird is just kind of invisible. Here, I've actually switched over to a completely different computer to show exactly how this happens. What's really going on is that the order that these things are drawn in isn't being controlled. It's somewhat random and it's left up to chance. Right now, we're not directly controlling what thing should draw on top of what other object. So when we put them in the first time, it seemed like everything was fine. But if I build out to another device or another platform, or even switch to another computer like I've done here, you'll see that sometimes the order doesn't line up, and then my objects look like they're not there. They look like they've disappeared. If I go select that bird again, you can see he's there and he kind of shows up, but he's missing. So how can I fix him? Let's go through the process. What I need to do is really just pretty simple. I need to modify the order that he's drawn in, and I can do that on my sprite renderer. There are a couple ways that I can do it. The first is I can modify this order and layer. If I just grab this and drag it to the right so that the value is higher than 0, you see that the bird shows up. If I go to my game view, now he's there again. The way that this works is that everything in a shared sorting layer, and right now everything is in this default sorting layer, will get rendered in the order that it is set in this order and layer. It'll start with the lowest value first and then go all the way up to the highest. So it's going to start with my zeros and then go to 1s and 2s and 3s all the way up to 8. It also takes negative values, so I could just set my background to like -100 and it would be way behind. There's another way to do this though, and I want to show you that. So I'm going to set this back to 0 and I'm going to go select my background. So select this summer background object, and I know that I want this to always be behind everything. I don't want to have to change it constantly, and I could change the order and layer to just drag that down to a negative value and it would work, but the other option is to add in a new sorting layer. I can just hit this sorting layer option, and instead of choosing default, hit add sorting layer. And then I need to go into my sorting layers. It'll just bring up this actual layers and tags inspector that allows me to do some other things. For now though, we're just going to worry about sorting layers. You can hit the plus button to create a new sorting layer and then call it background. I'm going to give it a capital B just to stay consistent. Now, the important thing here is to make sure that these are in the correct order. So I want to make sure that my background is above my default. So the background draws and then default draws. And you might notice that nothing's changed. That's because if I go select my background, notice that the sorting layer isn't actually changed. When we go into that tags and layers inspector, it doesn't actually select the new value that we've created because I could have created 10 values and there it doesn't know what to pick. So I need to go in and pick background. There we go. Now it's showing up. Now watch as I go back to that tags and layers thing one more time. I'm going to hit add sorting layer. And if I rearrange these, look at that. Now my background is in front, so it shows up in front of the bird. And I click it this way, and now my background is behind it. Also notice that that fixed up our ground. So now we get our nice green edge over the ground, or the nice cool ground look that we're expecting to see.